Before Jahmyr Gibbs became one of the most exciting players in the NFL, he faced a reality few could imagine. Growing up in Dalton, Georgia, he spent nights in shelters, dreaming of a life beyond survival. Those dreams, fueled by grit and relentless determination, would one day carry him to the bright lights of the NFL. But this story isn't just about football. It's about what it takes to rise from hardship to greatness. Gibbs' journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and the unshakable belief in one's potential, a story that transcends the field and resonates with anyone striving to overcome their own challenges. From record-breaking high school performances to dazzling college stats that caught the eyes of NFL scouts, Gibbs has redefined what it means to thrive under pressure. More than just an athlete, he's a symbol of hope for aspiring players and a reminder that no dream is too distant for those willing to fight for it. As we dive into this extraordinary tale, you'll see how Gibbs turned doubt into motivation, setbacks into stepping stones, and a simple love for the game into a legacy in the making. Jahmyr Gibbs' path to the NFL didn't begin under the Friday night lights of a high school stadium or the roaring cheers of a college football crowd. Instead, it started in a modest corner of Dalton, Georgia, where life dealt him challenges that would test even the strongest spirits. Born on March 20th, 2002, Gibbs grew up in circumstances far removed from the glitz and glamour of professional sports. His parents were absent, leaving his grandmother, Angela Willis, as his sole guardian. Together, they navigated an unstable world, often bouncing between temporary homes and even finding refuge in shelters. For Gibbs, those early years were filled with uncertainty and hardship. Angela, a woman of unwavering resolve, became his rock. Despite their circumstances, she ensured that Jahmyr never strayed from the right path. She was everything, Gibbs would later recall, his voice tinged with a mixture of gratitude and reverence. Angela's love gave him a foundation, but the realities of poverty loomed large. Nights spent in shelters were more than just a logistical challenge. They were a daily battle to hold on to dignity and hope. It was in one of these shelters that Gibbs' life took an unexpected turn. Among the volunteers was the Ross family, Dusty, Greg, and their young son, John. What began as casual interactions blossomed into something transformative. Dusty and Greg saw in Jahmyr not just a boy with a passion for football, but a resilient young soul brimming with untapped potential. By 2017, the Ross family officially adopted him, providing not only stability, but also a sense of belonging that he had craved his entire life. The newfound structure allowed Gibbs to channel his energy into sports, which had long been his escape. While basketball and track showcased his athletic versatility, it was football that truly lit a fire within him. His natural talent was evident from the moment he stepped onto the field, but it was his drive and discipline that set him apart. He wasn't just playing the game. He was crafting a future one run, one pass, one tackle at a time. As Gibbs grew older, his abilities became undeniable. By his senior year at Dalton High School, he had rushed for over 2,500 yards and scored an astounding 40 touchdowns, earning statewide accolades and catching the attention of college scouts. Yet, even as success came knocking, he remained grounded, always crediting his grandmother and the Ross family for their sacrifices and support. Without them, he said, "I don't think I'd even be here." But as much as Gibbs' past was shaped by hardship, it was also defined by resilience. Those long nights in shelters, the struggles to make ends meet, and the moments of doubt had forged a young man who refused to quit. His story wasn't just about talent, it was about tenacity. And while Gibbs was beginning to make waves in high school football, the real test of his resilience was just around the corner. Few paths to greatness are smooth, and this one was no exception. From a young age, the value of hard work was ingrained in every fiber of his being. Whether it was running drills at dawn or quietly absorbing life lessons at home, the drive to rise above his circumstances became the foundation of his life. When the lights of Dalton High School's football field illuminated his raw talent, the world began to take notice. But it wasn't just his explosive speed or his uncanny ability to find gaps in the defense that set him apart. It was his unrelenting focus and refusal to take any moment for granted. The junior season was a turning point. It wasn't just about numbers, although those were impressive, over 1,400 rushing yards and 20 touchdowns. It was about how each play carried the weight of something greater. For every tackle broken and every yard gained, there was a quiet reminder of where the journey began. In shelters, on borrowed time, and with borrowed hope. The grind was paying off, but the stakes kept climbing. When the offers started pouring in after his senior season, one that saw over 2,500 rushing yards and a jaw-dropping 40 touchdowns, it was more than recognition. It was validation. Big programs like Michigan and Alabama wanted him. He could have chased the bright lights and national spotlights, but instead, loyalty spoke louder. Choosing to stay close to home at Georgia Tech wasn't a decision made lightly. It was a choice rooted in gratitude for his roots and the people who made his dream possible. But staying close to home came with its own challenges. At Georgia Tech, the stage was smaller and the team struggled to find wins. Yet, he never let circumstances dictate his performance. Week after week, the work ethic he honed from childhood shone through. He became a beacon of hope for a team mired in mediocrity, leading by example with his explosive runs and versatility as a receiver. It wasn't enough for him to be good. He wanted to elevate everyone around him. Still, ambition has a way of whispering when it's time to take the next step. The decision to transfer to Alabama wasn't just about football, it was about proving that his talent could shine on the grandest stages. Under the guidance of Nick Saban, he didn't just compete, he excelled. Over 1,300 scrimmage yards in a single season, punctuated by critical performances in nail-biting games, silenced doubters and solidified his place among college football's elite. Now, as we look deeper into the resilience and grit that defined this chapter, hit the like button and subscribe to learn what it truly takes to climb higher, to take what you've learned in struggle and apply it with precision on the field of life, so that you can chase greatness no matter where you begin. When dreams collide with reality, the results can be unpredictable. The journey to the NFL draft in 2023 was filled with anticipation, but also doubt. Running backs, once considered cornerstone players, had seen their value questioned in the modern game. Analysts argued about the wisdom of selecting a running back so high, let alone with the 12th overall pick. Critics called it a reach, with some giving the Detroit Lions a failing grade for their decision. But when the spotlight turned to that draft stage and his name was called, a powerful message was sent. Belief can outweigh skepticism. The Lions were not just drafting an athlete, they were making a statement. The front office saw what others missed: an adaptable playmaker with the speed of a sprinter, the hands of a receiver, and the heart of a champion. The transition to the NFL, however, is rarely seamless. The early games of the season were a study in patience. Opportunities were limited, and the doubters grew louder. Yet, while the numbers didn't leap off the page, the flashes of brilliance were undeniable. Every great team is built on chemistry, and Detroit found a unique formula with their backfield pairing. The combination of raw speed and agility, alongside power and grit, turned into something special. Sonic and Knuckles, as fans affectionately dubbed the duo, redefined how running backs could share the spotlight. It wasn't about who got the most touches, it was about how each complemented the other to devastate defenses. Together, they formed an identity that embodied the city of Detroit itself: relentless, unyielding, and hungry for success. Midseason brought challenges that would have derailed lesser players. Injuries sidelined teammates, forcing the rookie to shoulder a heavier workload. Instead of cracking under the weight, he rose. The breakout game against the Raiders was more than just a statistical marvel. Over 180 total yards and a touchdown, it was a declaration. Every cut, every burst, and every broken tackle told a story. He belonged. The whispers of doubt faded into silence as the season progressed. Week after week, the performances became more electric. Onlookers marveled not just at the numbers, but at the versatility. Whether catching a screen pass in the flat, powering through a crowded defensive line, or sprinting untouched for a score, he became a nightmare for defensive coordinators. Detroit's offense flourished, ranking among the league's best in rushing yards and touchdowns. But the numbers only told part of the story. It was the culture shift that mattered more. For a franchise long associated with heartbreak and near misses, the backfield duo symbolized hope. Games that once seemed unwinnable now felt within reach. For the first time in decades, Detroit believed. The playoff run was historic, breaking a postseason drought that stretched back to 1991. The Lions didn't just make the playoffs, they won. In each game, the rookie rose to the occasion, scoring touchdowns and making crucial plays that swung momentum. Every yard gained, every defender left grasping at air, was another step toward rewriting the narrative of a city and a team. Even in the face of defeat in the NFC Championship, the future felt brighter than ever. The team fell short against the San Francisco 49ers, but the fight they showed left no doubt that the Lions were on the cusp of something extraordinary. The spotlight may have shifted away for now, but a storm was brewing in Detroit. It's not just about what was achieved, it's about what lies ahead. As the rookie season transitioned into year 2, there was no time to rest. The expectations were higher, the challenges greater, and the opportunities boundless. But for a player who had already proven so much, what could the future hold? What new heights could be reached? As we dive into the lessons that have fueled this rise, let's take a closer look at what makes greatness sustainable and how it continues to inspire those watching. Success, they say, leaves clues. For those paying attention, the journey behind the highlights reveals the real lessons. At first glance, it's easy to see the explosive runs, the dazzling agility, and the clutch performances. But those are merely the end results of a deeper process. Beneath it all is a story of resilience that teaches us the true meaning of perseverance, humility, and belief in one's own journey. Adversity wasn't just an occasional obstacle. It was a constant presence. From the instability of his childhood to the scrutiny of being a high-profile draft pick, the challenges never disappeared. Instead of shrinking in the face of these trials, they became fuel. Every difficult moment was a reminder of why giving up was never an option. Hardship has a way of sharpening focus, and for anyone striving to achieve their dreams, the first lesson is clear. Your circumstances don't define you, your response does. Adaptability became the cornerstone of his success. At Georgia Tech, he found himself on a team that struggled to win, but he never let the lack of external success impact his effort. Transferring to Alabama wasn't just about football. It was about testing himself in an environment where the competition was relentless. This ability to pivot and thrive in new situations is a universal lesson for athletes and dreamers alike. The path forward isn't always straight, and sometimes embracing change is the only way to grow. Equally important was the power of community. From the unwavering support of his grandmother to the love and stability provided by the Ross family, his story is a testament to the idea that no one achieves greatness alone. Every person has mentors, cheerleaders, and those who silently pave the way for their success. Recognizing and valuing these relationships isn't just about gratitude, it's about understanding that community is often the foundation of resilience. Discipline and consistency were the unsung heroes of this journey. Talent may have opened the door, but it was daily dedication that kept the dream alive. Early mornings, late-night film sessions, and the unseen hours of practice are the invisible threads holding his story together. For young athletes, this is a crucial reminder that the work done away from the spotlight is what determines whether you'll shine under it. Perhaps the most valuable lesson, though, is learning to embrace criticism and doubt. From analysts questioning his draft selection to opponents underestimating his skill set, skepticism was never in short supply. But instead of letting the noise distract him, it became motivation. It's a skill every aspiring athlete needs. The ability to filter out the negativity and focus on what truly matters. The belief in your own abilities and the relentless pursuit of improvement. And yet, For all the lessons about resilience and hard work, there's something even more profound in this story. It's a question that echoes beyond the field, one that every dreamer must confront. When the lights dim and the applause fades, what legacy will you leave? As we turn our attention to how this story connects with the broader dreams of a city and its fans, what does the future hold for someone who has already accomplished so much yet is just getting started? Greatness isn't born, it's built, brick by brick, through moments of struggle and triumph. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be shared, let that belief guide your finger to the like button and help us inspire even more people chasing dreams. Just as the Detroit Lions have inspired a city yearning for hope. In Detroit, football is more than just a game. It's a reflection of the city's soul, a place where grit, determination, and resilience define not just the players, but the fans who cheer them on. It's no coincidence that the rise of this team mirrors the rise of its young running back. His story, rooted in perseverance and growth, feels like it was written for a city that has spent decades climbing its own uphill battle. Each time he steps onto the field, it's as if he carries the weight of more than just the football. There's a sense of purpose, a quiet acknowledgement of the people and moments that brought him to this point. Every touchdown is a tribute to the grandmother who refused to let him falter, to the Ross family who gave him a second chance, and to the countless hours spent turning doubt into determination. For the Lions, the future has never looked brighter. This team, built on camaraderie and trust, has grown into a symbol of what's possible when talent meets vision. The once dismissed rookie is now a cornerstone of that vision, and his ability to electrify the field is matched only by his impact off it. He has become a source of pride, not just for a franchise, but for a fan base that sees itself in his fight. The journey ahead is still unwritten, but it's clear that this is only the beginning. With every carry, every broken tackle, and every step toward the end zone, he's crafting a legacy that transcends statistics. It's a story that reminds us all that no matter where we start, the road forward is paved by belief, effort, and the unshakable will to rise above. And now, as the Lions and their fans look toward the ultimate prize, a Lombardi Trophy, the message is clear. Hope isn't just alive, it's thriving. It's running down the field, breaking free from defenders, and showing us all what's possible when heart meets opportunity. So here's to the dreamers, the believers, and the underdogs. The world may throw obstacles your way, but remember, the hardest battles lead to the greatest victories. And if this story moved you even a fraction as much as it's moved the fans in Detroit, you already know what to do.